Hey guys, how you doing? It's your favorite YouTube couple here. We're back again with another video as we promised.
In today's story time, we will be sharing our love story. I hope you guys are ready to come along for the ride. We would have social gatherings. My cousins would always be there, and my cousin would always bring an extra guest.
Sorry, that had to be me.
So the first time my husband and I actually met, it probably wasn't the most politest situation.
It wasn't because it was at the cousin, would just be my best friend brother's graduation.
Yeah. So my cousin's youngest brother graduated from high school, and we all ended up going to his graduation. He ended up sitting behind me at the graduation.
People are rude. People are very rude.
No, not people. He was rude. So what happened was, at the graduation, they asked that nobody applaud, nobody cheer, until all the names were called.
Yeah, y'all know black people don't listen to all that. Let's be real.
No, people were not listening whatsoever. So people were cheering, but they called my cousin's name, and I'm sitting there clapping, and he is in my ear screaming, "Wow! Wow! Yeah, Antoine! That's what's up, Antoine!"
That's my homeboy. I'm supposed to root him. I'm supposed to be quiet? Really?
No, he was doing the most. So I turned around and looked at him, not very nicely, and was like, "You're rude, sir, and you don't follow directions."
And I told her, turn your little stuff around, little girl, and be quiet.
He did. He called me a little girl. I rolled my eyes at him and was like, "You're rude," like I said, "and you don't follow directions."
So as time went on, we kind of,
Kept seeing each other.
we saw each other time to time, but I had went away.
Yeah, he went away for Job Corps. At this time, I called myself kind of having a crush on him. But then I found out that... What did I find out, Roderick?
Stuff is in the past.
No, what did I find out, Roderick?
And that I was engaged to somebody.
Yeah, I found out that he was engaged to somebody. The same cousin of mine snitched on him and was like, "Oh, so..." And he thought we were talking about the same thing, but he was talking about something totally different. So I kind of was harassing my cousin for him to tell me, and my cousin finally spilled the beans that he was engaged to somebody else, or supposed to be. Obviously, he won't engage to her, because here we are 11 years later, married.
Shade, no shade.
So I was livid mad at him. He went away still, and school started back for me, and it was around February that I saw him again. And I still think to this day that my cousin and him set it up.
Actually, no, it was not a setup because I had came home. It was not a setup. I had came home from Job Corps for I think it was a weekend thing, because they give you weekend passes or whatever. And her cousin, which was my best friend, was like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Sure, let's hang out." And I did not know where we was end up going. We was just hanging out like we normally do.
It was a setup.
It was not a setup.
This boy turned around and went and got a fresh haircut, like fresh.
It was not fresh. It was not fresh. It wasn't fresh. It was 3 days
haircut.
old.
No, it was not 3 days
so
old.
I had the haircut
it was
on
a
Thursday.
Fresh
it had the haircut on Thursday.
Because he knew he was about to see me. So I was still fake mad at him.
Pop the collar.
Okay. So I was fake mad at him. Anyways, I ended up being at a friend's house, and my cousin calls and was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at my friend's house." He was like, "Well, I'm gonna come through." And he was like, "I got somebody with me." So I'm like, "Who do you have with you?" I was kind of looking busted and disgusted that day.
Best friends, they roll together. They die. They ride or die, baby. Ride or die.
So anyways, so he was like, "Oh, I have Roderick." So I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm going to tell him off." Now, this was pre me being saved. I love the Lord. He has changed my heart, my mind, and the way I talk. But I was like, "Oh, I'm going to cuss him out. Oh, I'm going to jump in his face. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And he showed up looking fine.
And none of that ever happened.
I don't know what. And I was sitting there looking stupid in the face like... true. So all the stuff that I said I was gonna do, like ultimately none of it happened. But I still had to give him a little bit of attitude. So when my cousin pulled up, I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" to my cousin all nice, and I was looking at him like, like, hi. And then he acted like he didn't want to speak to me at first. So I had to go, "Oh, so you're not gonna talk to me? So you just not gonna speak to me?" And he was like, "Well, I didn't know you wanted to talk to me."
Let's be real. I said, no, you still didn't pop up with an attitude, so.
No, he was like, "I didn't know."
You had the attitude.
No,
so.
he didn't. He was like, "I didn't know if you wanted to talk to me because I heard that you was mad at me." And I was like, "Well, am I not supposed to be mad at you?"
Shade.
It's not shade. But anyways, needless to say, fast forward like after a few more seconds, I slipped him my phone number, and he called me that night.
Actually, I did not call her that night.
You did call that night.
I don't remember calling that night.
He called that night.
Is that
ladies and gentlemen?
3 o'clock in the morning? Was that the 3 o'clock in the morning?
You incriminating yourself? You was calling me 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, I'm saying was that we was on the phone till 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, that was the time we was on the phone.
Good Lord, listen, child, listen.
No, it's not like you was incriminating yourself. You was calling me at 3 o'clock. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so we ended up talking to about 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask me why.
We played the game. Y'all know that song 50 Cent made 21 questions. We had like 50 questions.
This was before we were saved. Okay, so we were listening to R&B and all this stuff. We were not that enthused with the Lord at that time. But yeah, we were listening to 50 Cent and R. Kelly.
Some stuff that you guys don't need to know. But hey, it's okay though.
But those are our pre-Jesus days. So that's when we like initially first started talking. Like we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend at that time. We just were kind of getting to know each other. Fast forward like into the summertime, Roderick began to grow more closer in his walk with the Lord.
Yeah, some things transpired, you know, and I got closer to God, so I was like, okay, I gotta cut out some of the things that I was doing. Yeah.
We also found out that summer that Roderick was about to be ordained as a minister, and that changed a lot of how we viewed our relationship going forward.
Because the transition kind of took place in a way that, you know, made me look at things totally different. Not her, but totally different of the way I was living and the walk I was about to walk into.
That's true. And honestly, I grew up in church my whole life. So
we both did.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying from my aspect.
I got you.
Growing up in church my whole life and being ready to talk about dating someone who ultimately felt like they were being led and called of God. I definitely knew that I would have to change a part of who I was or my lifestyle more or less because I didn't want to be a bad reflection on him. So I did.
She began to change some things, you know.
I changed some things. I was young and I like to have fun and I didn't make some good choices all the time.
But we all had that time, you know. We all had that when we all was young. We didn't make good decisions because some people say when they say that they're like, "Oh, you were such a sinner." We all were sinners, so.
Yeah. So, like going into Roderick, getting ready to be ordained, we kind of started making it official about us kind of settling down and talking one-on-one to each other, and I ultimately began to seek the Lord for myself after that. In the beginning, if I'm honest, a lot of me toning down some of the wildness I was doing was very much so centered around your boyfriend is about to be a minister. You can't be out in the clubs and doing stuff you ain't got no business doing, talking about your boyfriend is a man of God. One thing I ultimately always took serious was I never wanted him to stumble and it be because I wasn't willing to change how I was living my life. But I ultimately kept saying that I wanted to be with him.
But let it be known, you know, before I became the minister that I was walking into becoming, I had a side too. It might not have been as wild as everybody else, but I had a side too.
So we begin to kind of take that journey together to find the Lord, to seek the Lord more. I ultimately ended up getting like officially saved, really saved, because you know there are times when you get saved and then you just don't live like you're supposed to.
You get that proclaim saved.
But I really begin to press into and to seek into finding that stable foundation as far as with God, ultimately around that same time, and which led to us having serious conversations about the future.
Settling down.
Yeah, about settling down. I'll never forget it. We were just sitting on the phone talking, and I was like, yeah, so my friend was joking with me, and my friend said that, you know, that me and you should get married. And I just kind of laughed, and he was like, he shocked me with his answer, but he was like, yeah, I can see myself marrying you. And I just kind of paused for a second, was like, what? Like what? He was like, I said I can see myself marrying you. And I was like, oh, okay. And, you know, we didn't really talk about it much after that. But in the back of my mind, that he thought that I could potentially be his wife was very satisfying for me.
But also, guys, I'm really directing this to you because most guys say, oh, I don't see myself getting married at no time soon, this, that, and the third. You can't say that because what God has for you is for you. And you never know where that's going to come. It might come at 20. It might come at 27. It might come at 19. So you got to be ready whenever God said, hey, it's time.
That is very true. It was prophesied to me when I was about 12 that I would get married young. And when the lady prophesied that to me, I kind of laughed at her and was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Me get married young, me do ministry young. But fast forward, I did get married young, and we are heavily involved in helping to do ministry. So God fulfilled his promise at the end of the day. And it was crazy because
it was a ride. It was a ride. Trust me.
We experienced a lot before we were even married.
Yes, we have. We experienced my wife getting sick. We experienced my hearing issues getting worse. I mean, it was like challenges was coming before the whole official marriage part. But even after we got married, challenges came even more stronger. And everybody say within that first year of marriage, you know, that's going to make you or break you. But I must say it made us, because even though we had challenges, we kind of talked through it. We worked at it. We prayed about it. We see God first. And God led us to say, you know what? This is something that I put together. And one thing I must say, who God puts together, they no man asunder. Because when God put us together, nothing could came through it. Even though the devil tried to bring so many stumbling blocks and oh my God, it was hurdles. It was like we were running the races. We had to jump hurdles over hurdles over hurdles. But fast forward 11 years later, here we are.
Yeah. I mean, that first year of marriage, I'll be honest, by the time we hit that 1 year mark, everybody was like, happy anniversary. And me and him were kind of giving each other the side eye. Like, they was like, cut your cake. Because, you know, you're supposed to save the first tier cake, their top tier cake.
Yeah, we did save ours, but it was frozen.
It was frozen, and we didn't like each other enough to try and feed it to each other anyway. So we had to learn a lot of valuable lessons our first year. The main important thing we learned within that first year was communication.
Communication is key, because if you don't communicate, it can bring up a lot of unease feelings and things that you don't want to experience.
Yeah,
trust me.
Because unclear communication was a lot of where our arguments resided. Me thinking that he said something that he didn't, or me projecting what I thought he meant instead of just getting the clarification of actually what he meant. So we learned all about that. We learned about the importance of intimacy, keeping people out of our marriage.
That's key. That is key. Keeping people out of your marriage.
Because everybody had an opinion.
Everybody got an opinion.
But the best thing ultimately is we had to learn that it was better for us to work together than for us to try and figure some way of my way is right, no, my way is right. Like, at the end of the day, when you're too busy trying to prove your point versus trying to be on the same page, you don't get very far.
You don't.
And sometimes it's just as simple as if you've misunderstood something or if you said something, because everybody has moments where they're frustrated, to ultimately go back and never be so proud that you can't say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, I apologize, that wasn't the way I came across, I apologize, I was frustrated, I apologize, I was feeling some type of way, so when you said this to me, it kind of made me feel, this way or that way, and we had to learn those things.
That was my issue, because I had a problem with going back saying, I apologize, I'm sorry, because I was brought up that you don't say sorry, you don't say I apologize, because it makes you look weak. It makes you look weak. But learning that it doesn't make you look weak, it's let you get a clarification out of all that. It's not weakness, actually strength to say I'm sorry.
Yeah, it takes a strong man to admit when they're wrong and to say, ultimately, honey, I hurt your feelings, because that was my thing. We both have strong personalities, and sometimes we are very straight and direct and to the point, and sometimes in that, the delivery of it is what sometimes tends to be offensive. So we had a lot of those incidents where he would say something, I would say something back, and he would be like, but the way you said it to me, and I was like, well, the way you said it to me, but in the same breath, we weren't listening really to each other. And then I realized it wasn't until like other people started critiquing and saying, yeah, the way you said that was a little rough. And I was like, well, that's not the way I meant it, and vice versa for him. It was like, other people began to say, we ultimately sought help. I'll be honest, as an African American culture, we do not think counseling is needed. That is a lie.
Counseling is the key. Counseling is a key.
We are very much so advocates of, if you need help, you step up and say, I need help. You seek the help that you need. And ultimately, we ended up getting help. Like, we ended up saying, listen, we need mediators to help us, because obviously the way I'm saying it, the way he's receiving it, it's not like we're not meeting in the middle. It's not cohesive. And that's what we did. We went and we got help. And I thank God that we got that help, because it ultimately helped us to build a strong foundation. We didn't stay in counseling for that long, but just the little bit that we got helped a whole lot. And we began to build from that. We began to build how we communicated with each other, even down to how we disagree, because there is a correct way to disagree with someone. You don't have to hit below the belt to have a disagreement. You can agree to disagree, and that's okay. Like, you're not going to always see things 100%
You don't see it
the
eye to
same
eye with
way.
everything all the time.
But we've learned to keep the facts the facts. If we're talking about a particular topic, that's what we're going to talk about. We're not going to bring up something for next week or 2 years ago or 5 seconds ago, especially when you have the opportunity to clear the air. And I think that's the thing. If there's something that needs to be discussed, discuss it, but be fair enough to listen to what the other person has to say. You don't have to agree with what they say, but be fair enough to actually hear what they're saying.
And you have to learn how to let stuff go too. You cannot hold on to stuff that happened last week, last month, and you get into an argument and you throw it up. Well, that happened last month, and that person look at you like
they have no clue.
They look at you like, I thought we discussed it and let it go, but you still hold on to it. It doesn't help. It doesn't help in a relationship at all.
And as women, we tend to do that. As women, it's like something in our DNA that makes us remember every little, like, we remember how you said it, the position you was holding your hand, your finger, the tone you use, the monotone that you use. Like, we remember all of that. So as women, we have to learn to understand that our husbands are human. They make faults.
And us as guys, we sit there looking at them like, what? Because they literally just left our mind the second we talked about it. we done left it alone and it's gone and we move on to a different topic, we like something else and they still hold on to it. You sit there and they bring it back up and they're like
we just discussed that. Like, that used to be our arguments. I would still be in my feelings. He would briefly apologize and was like, so we're past that. I would still be mad and he would be like talking about something else. He'd be like, yeah, so it's a beautiful day outside. I'm still like giving him the stank face, like, you still hurt my feelings. And he's like, but I apologize to you. Like,
for an example,
you gonna hold on to that?
For an example, we was on our way to a church and we had a little argument in, in the car or whatever, and I apologized.
I was terrible at it.
I apologize and I let it go, and I go inside church and I'm giving God the praise, and she's sitting there with a stank look. Praising God.
Everybody in our church knew that we were arguing. It never failed. Like, the first couple of years we were married, everybody would know when we got in an argument. Roderick would be in church just worshiping. I would be vexed, like completely vexed in my spirit, like ready to like bust him upside the head. Cause I'm like, why are you worshiping and I still have an attitude? And he's like, I've apologized to you.
And
I don't understand why you're still holding on to this. Like, come on, Yasmin. Like, meet me somewhere.
Our pastor had to talk to her like, you have to let it go because you hold on to it and you just stunt yourself for being able to be free to worship
and be happy. Like, and I realized, that's when I began to realize that I had my husband in the wrong order compared to where he should have been. And sometimes as women and as wives, when we put our husband above in certain roles that they shouldn't be, that's how we end up being in those places. I had to learn that my happiness was not solely found in my husband. Happiness came from him, bits and pieces of my life, but it wasn't the sole thing of my life. I had to learn where true joy resided and who really was the author and the finisher of my faith. And it was ultimately God. It was not my husband, but I wanted him in that role. But that just talked about how broken I was at that time, going into that first year of not really understanding the dynamics of just how much I had put an emphasis on deeming him that he was supposed to be perfect when ultimately that's not the way that goes. Like, he's a man, he's human, and he's gonna make faults and he's gonna have faults, but ultimately that, I had to learn to forgive him and be able to move forward when he ultimately had those faults.
And us as guys, we have to do the same thing when it comes to our wives. We have to stop holding them at a criteria where they should be, because we have to realize they make mistakes too. They have faults too. And even though they do, we have to learn how to love them through it.
So that's our crazy love story. I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing the story of how we met and fall in love. Please give this video a like and subscribe. Also, in the comments section, if you have any crazy love stories, we'd like to hear from you. But next, we're going to discuss our challenge. So as we stated in last week's video, we are all about getting couples back out there on the dating game. So, we believe that it is very important for couples to still date even after you say, I do. Now, for our challenge, we are going to take a week long to show appreciation and love and kind gestures to our spouses. Now, here are the rules. Just give me a second. I gotta unlock my phone. Oh, that's the wrong password. Okay, here we go. So here are the things that we would like for you guys to do for your spouses. On day one, we would like you guys to come up with a creative written way to show your spouse what they mean to you. So that could be a letter, any form of writing that could show your spouse how important you feel they are.
Day two, come up with a creative way to show your spouse where we are thinking of them other than phone call and text message, which means you can put the rose petals on the bed, I ain't gonna throw too many ideas out there, guys, but guys, you know what you can do. Come on.
So this is a full day of just creating a way to show your spouse that you were thinking of them. Day three, this is the funnest one. When my husband and I first got married, we didn't have a lot of money. But we
It don't take a lot of money.
And it doesn't take a lot of money. But we both still love to do things for each other. So on your third date, you have to come up with a creative yet romantic lunch date. And if you guys can't do it for lunch, you can also try it for dinner. Only using the materials in your house. So you have to come up with a way to romance your husband and wife, or girlfriend and boyfriend, because we do realize that some couples are engaged to be married, and these are good practices to do even before you're married and just keep them up after you're married. So we want you guys to create a romantic dinner or lunch for your significant other, only using the materials in your house.
Or you can do it breakfast style too, just in case you can't do the dinner and lunch. You can do breakfast too.
That's a good idea, honey. All right, our next one is to come up with a creative way to show your spouse a day of appreciation. A day of showing just how grateful you are that God has given you the spouse that he has. So any way possible that you can think of to show your spouse appreciation, we want you guys to spend that day doing that. And our last one is
Find out your spouse's love language.
This is very important. So there are 5 love languages that are known for intimate partners. And some of those are quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, or physical touch. Now, you guys know what your love language is. Hopefully you guys do. There are plenty of websites. If you need me to, I will drop one in the description below that will give you guys a link that will let you guys take a what's your love language kind of quiz. And once you find out what it is, you and your husband, if you guys already know, discuss with each other which one it is. And then on this day, you're going to spend the entire day showing your spouse love in the unique way of their love language. So if their love language is quality time, you're going to spend that day showing them quality time. If it is physical touch, you're going to spend that day, and vice versa. This is a participation between the wife and the husband, or the
both have to
girlfriend,
participate in this.
the fiance and the. Now, I'm gonna be honest, fiancés, I'm going to suggest that you find a different love language. We are not promoting fornication. Now, you can have more than one love language, and I'm just gonna be honest. If you start physical touching and you guys are not married, it's gonna lead to something else. Trust me. Hormones gonna be raging. Y'all gonna be up there doing stuff, and we're not trying to cause anybody to fall from grace. So if you have a different love language, we suggest that you use that instead. So husbands and wives, that's fine. Fiancés, girlfriend and boyfriends, physical touching, if I'm honest, can lead down the wrong path. And we will share a story of how, we almost fell from grace. Now, I'll be honest, it was hard being abstinent and sustaining before we were married, if I'm honest. And so we had to begin to implement rules that would cause us not to fall from grace. Like, a lot of people don't talk about that.
They're scared to talk about that.
And they're scared to talk about that. But it's the honest to God truth. And if you fall from grace, you ask for forgiveness and you pick up the pieces and you keep it moving. But if you begin to implement things and put things in place, boundaries, that's correct. Setting appropriate boundaries so you don't have those mishaps. It is well worth it. You'll have your whole entire life once you get married to put it on them like you want to put it on them. But I'm just saying. Before you're married, you shouldn't be doing any of that.
Let's get back into the challenge.
So yes, but anyways, that is our challenge. We want you guys to come up with these creative ways. Once again, we will put the rules in the description box down below and let you guys know what these are. This is for 5 days.
5 days only.
So this is our only thing that we ask. in doing this challenge, we want you guys to, we're going to come up with a hashtag for Instagram. And what it is you can either do a 30-second video, because I think Instagram only lets you do like 59 seconds or 30 seconds. Do a 59-second or 30-second video showing your whatever your unique creative idea that you came with, or you can take a picture with the hashtag that we create and post it and let us see the creative ways that you come up with. I am excited.
I'm excited
to
too.
see how you guys get creative with coming up with these new cool dating techniques. So we will pick a winner based on the couple who is the most
creative
and the most unique. So you must do the challenge for all 5 days.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. You must add the hashtag that we will choose for you guys so that we will be able to, and we want you guys to get other couples involved. So part of it is when we put the challenge out there, you guys must like, and if you haven't subscribed to us, you must subscribe to us, tag a friend that is another couple that you know, and then do your 5 days. And ultimately that will lead to
an ultimate free date night for you and your spouse.
Yes. So we're not going to give the details quite yet about the date, but ultimately you will win a free date. So we look forward to seeing and hearing your feedback. Follow us on Instagram if you aren't following us already at
Hanging with the Anderson.
hang_with the Andersons. It's okay, babe. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we hope that you guys have enjoyed spending time with us today. And as always, you've been
Hanging with the Andersons. Hey guys, how you doing? We're back again. It's your favorite YouTube couple, blah, 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 blah. Hey guys, how you doing? We're back here again. It's your favorite YouTube couple with another video. I'm Roderick. Hey guys, how you doing? We're back again with another video as we promised. Hanging out with... Hey guys, how you doing? We're back again. It's your favorite YouTube couple here. Originally, we met through my best friend, which happens to be her cousin.
That's correct. So, a cousin of ours, oh man, that's not what I was supposed to say. You didn't say anything.
She didn't say anything. I heard the
She said
camera.
1, 2.
I heard the camera go off.
But she normally be like, go. That's not.